Hello Heart Warrior family, welcome back to my channel. I know it's been quite some time since my last video, but really the reason for that is that there just really hasn't been much going on as far as, how he's been doing. He's been doing really well, so there really hasn't been anything to give any update on. So I just thought it was time, just because it's looking like we're getting ready for surgery pretty soon. Early in 2022. So a couple of questions that I had on my last video, how is he doing? So that was the first question, how's he doing? And like I said, he's been doing really well. We've really just been living life normally. He hasn't had any, and I say it like kind of questioning myself because I guess it's not been super normal, but I feel like it's been pretty close to normal. I follow a lot of support groups of other families who are going through having a child with tetralogy of Fallot and all of the complications that they have. And I feel like compared to most, we have been incredibly blessed and we haven't had any issues as far as his health. The only things that have really popped up, which kind of remind us that our son has a heart defect, is when he gets sick. It's a little nerve-wracking, and of course, like any other child, he's had quite a few colds within this 15 months of his life. So when he gets sick, it's always a little nerve-wracking, especially when he gets a fever, because that always causes his heart rate to go up, and that's always a little scary. So the constant checking his heart rate, checking his oxygen when he's sick, that's not really something that parents have to do when they have healthy children. So that's always a reminder that, okay, he's got a heart defect, and it's a little different. So we always come to terms with, we have to be more careful with him, and we probably should keep him away from large groups of people, just to keep him as healthy as possible, just because it is very nerve-wracking when he gets sick. And it's always the question of, how will this affect him? How sick is he? Is he going to be okay, or is it going to land us in the hospital? We did have one incident when he got sick. His fever went well over the 100.1, I think it is. He had a pretty high fever. I think we got up to like 102. So that took us to the hospital, and when they checked his vitals, his oxygen was low. So of course they right away admitted us. So that was nerve-wracking. We actually had to stay overnight in the hospital. Luckily, it was nothing. It was just a cold, and he kind of kicked it, within the next few days from there. We were only in the hospital for one day, which was nice. So that day that we took him to emergency, it was pretty late at night. I think it was probably 9 o'clock at night. It was on a Saturday. So by Sunday around 4 o'clock, we were back home. So it wasn't too bad. But of course, when we let the doctors know that he has a heart defect, they want to be more careful and keep him for observation, just because his oxygen did go down to, I believe, the 60s, which his normal O2 is in the mid 80s, high 90s. So it did drop pretty low. I think that it was because he was scared, but because after that, they gave him oxygen for a little bit. But then once they took him off, because he was doing well, he didn't need it again, and he was calm and okay after that. So that was a scare that we had, and a hospital visit that we had. But other than that, like I said, he's been doing really well. His development has been right where it's supposed to be. We haven't had any issues there. And then that brings me to what the next question was on my last video, and it was, what is the determining factor as far as when he is going to be ready for surgery? And again, for every child is different, for every person is different. Every diagnosis is so different, and this is what I'm learning while, in following other pages and support groups and things. Every tetralogy of Fallot diagnosis is different and have different determining factors and things that will affect them in different ways. So it's almost impossible to try and compare babies, and I find myself doing that sometimes, you know, when I see somebody not doing so well, you know, that scares me into thinking, oh no, my son's not going to be doing so well. Or if a child is doing really well and, you know, they're out of their open heart surgery and home within 3 days, you know, it's hard to compare. So I'm trying not to do that, because I am understanding and learning more that every diagnosis is so different. So for us, with our son, the determining factor was that his growth slowed down. His physical growth slowed down. Everything else is right where it's supposed to be, but his physical growth slowed down. We were, you know, doing everything we can. He's off of breast milk. We didn't ever do formula. We went from breast milk to regular milk. We were trying the Pediasure for a little while. He took on to solids really well. And he eats. He really enjoys eating, but that growth just wasn't where it's supposed to be. And his cardiologist kind of said that maybe it's because his heart's working a little too hard now. So let's start getting ready for surgery. So the next step there was a catheter procedure, which we just did in the beginning of November. He had one before when he was first born, so that they can get in there and see, you know, everything better as far as his MAPGAs, because he has TOFPA MAPGAs. So, and that's one of the reasons why he has been doing so well, is because of his MAPGAs. They're kind of doing the work as far as taking the oxygenated blood to his lungs. So they wanted to do another cath procedure just to get pictures again, see if anything has changed, how everything's doing. And everything came back the same. Everything's pretty much the same. Nothing's really changed. He's still doing really well. His heart is still functioning really well. But because his growth slowed down, they did decide that, yeah, it's most likely time for surgery. So we are scheduled for a CT at the end of February. And it's not a normal CT. It's kind of more in depth. I forgot what they call it, but after that CT, they are planning for surgery to be pretty soon after that. The only thing that's gonna change it is if his MAPGAs are more complicated than what they're hoping for. When he was first born, they did tell us that his anatomy is incredibly complicated. So they told us, you know, just to make plans and be ready to possibly have to go to Stanford. So we already kind of had that in our heads, and they told us this the same thing after this cath procedure, that we'll probably have to go to Stanford, so to prepare for that. So when I got the call from our cardiologist that the surgeon here is confident that he can do it here, he just wants to do the CT scan just to make sure, that was comforting. It gave us some hope that, you know, things won't have to be so, you know, difficult. LA is quite a ways from us, so we are still going to have to, you know, travel and stay out there and everything, but it's not as far as Stanford. So we are hoping that his surgery can be done here, but if not, you know, we know that they're making the best decision possible for our son. So, you know, we're going to do what we need to do. So we are hoping that after the CT scan, we get the news that we can do it here, but if not, we will be making our way up to Stanford so that he can have his procedure up there. I do still plan to make another video kind of going into depth of our son's anatomy, just to see if there's anyone else out there who has something similar. You know, like I said before, I know we can't really compare because every diagnosis is so different. But if we could find someone out there who's a little similar, it'd be nice to talk to you guys, and you know, maybe you all can answer some questions for us and give us some hope, you know, because hearing from surgeons that our son's anatomy is as complex as it gets, those were his words exactly. His anatomy is as complex as it gets, and it is going to be very, very high risk. You know, it's not comforting. It's not the words that you want to hear coming from a surgeon. But we're hoping for the best. So like I said, I do plan to make another video kind of going in depth so that maybe we can see if someone else out there has something similar and can give us some hope. So Thank you so much. I want to say thank you so much to all of the families that follow me on my Instagram, because when we got the news that it was time for surgery, it hit me so hard, just because, you know, he has been doing so well. We were kind of, you know, in this state of bliss, and I kind of had this feeling that maybe he won't ever need surgery. You know, maybe we can get through it without him needing surgery. So I had a little bit of a breakdown, but a lot of the parents that reached out to me were so comforting, and so nice. You know, there was so many parents that are currently going through, you know, their children being in the hospital, and still made a point to reach out to me and comfort me, and that was so amazing. I wish that I can have that much strength once we're going through everything. So thank you to all of the parents who reached out to me and kind of helped me through that time, because it did really help. Excuse me, let me pause for a minute. Okay, so thank you again to all the families and you know, everyone who reached out to me and helped me through that time. And you know, that's what I hope to be for someone, as far as, you know, making these videos and having my Instagram page. You know, I did have a couple of moms reach out to me and let me know that I actually was giving them hope with my posts, and that I feel like is the whole purpose of this, you know, and other families having their pages and YouTube channels. So I just want to also encourage families out there to please, you know, make a page, start some content, make your own YouTube channel, because it's comforting and it's helpful to other families, definitely. You know, just to see what other people are going through. It's so comforting. I had another mom who I saw posted some feelings that are like really dark feelings that I have also had too. So it's just nice to know that you're not the only one and that you're not alone. And when you kind of reach out to each other and give that little back and forth comfort, it's really helpful, because we go through so much. And so it's nice to have other families that can, you know, help you and be there for you and give you comfort. So I want to encourage all the families out there to, you know, start a page, start a channel. It's going to help somebody, and along the way it's going to help you too, because my purpose of doing this was to help other families when you know, they're in need of some hope, and I was in need of some hope, and I had families reach out and give me that hope. So it's a two-way street. We kind of help each other. It's a community. That's why I say Heart Warrior Family, because a lot of times our actual family, they can't even begin to imagine what we're going through. So I feel like a lot of us, we're a family to each other, as far as, you know, helping everyone, helping each other get through these times and give each other hope. And it's just a beautiful community, and I'm so grateful for it. So thank you so much. I am going to get my little guy on here so he can say hi to everybody, so you all can see how he's doing, and I will be right back. All right, so here is baby Manny. Not so much a baby anymore. He is 15 months now. And he's walking and running and being wild and saying a lot of words. And he's just so much fun. We actually, don't tell him, but for Christmas we got him a drum set, because he actually loves music. As you can see, his daddy and me guitars back here, because he loves when his daddy plays guitar. He loves music. He loves to try and play all the instruments. So it's been a whole lot of fun with this guy. We've been learning a lot, and he's been doing really well. So follow us. Put this down for a minute, baby, so you can follow our journey and be with us through everything, and, you know, send us comfort and prayers. Yeah, Papa, baby, yeah. Say hi. I say hi. No? He just woke up for a nap. Normally he's super talkative and loves the camera, but anyway, there you go. Yeah, say hi. Again, thank you so much to all of the families who constantly give us a lot of, support and help. And we just ask for your prayers. We always, all of the families that I follow, anytime parents post that their babies are going through surgery, we always make it a point to say many prayers, until we see that, they're doing fine and made it through. And we continue to pray that they continue to do well and push and make it through and are able to live a long, beautiful life. So we just ask also for prayers, as we're coming closer to our surgery date. And also I want to ask, because this little guy, as brave as he is, freaks out every time we go to the hospital, just even just for his checkups. He screams his head off. He's always so scared. So if parents, you have any tips as far as what to do to keep your babies calm and happy, I would so appreciate it. Because I feel like that's also a really hard part of being in the hospital, is that he's just so scared, and it just breaks my heart that I can't talk to him and explain to him what's happening and that nothing's hurting him and he's okay. So if you have any tips, any advice, I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you so much, everyone. If I do not post another video before Christmas, I wish everybody a wonderful, happy Christmas, happy holidays if you don't celebrate Christmas, and also a happy new year if I don't post before then as well. And we will see you in 2022, if not before then. Thank you so much, Heart Warrior family. All the love and prayers.